Here are some mistakes that I see real estate agents making when they first get in the business and all throughout their career. And I can tell you right now, I have walked through some of these things, and I want to share with you my thought on, why agents define success differently and what does that mean. And I want to kind of frame this in a faith perspective. So what does that look like? I'm going to give you 5 points to kind of kick around as an agent. And again, this is just a little bit of experience and opinion. So if you're in for it, let's dive in. All right. My name is Brian Stevens, eXp Realty, the Realtors of Faith Group. Also partnered with the Wolfpack here in Central Florida. Licensed over 30 years, still learning and growing, and want to build in other real estate agents to make them better. So the first point is this. A lot of agents will measure success by just the scoreboard and not actually thinking about people's needs. A lot of agents just define the success by just the gross commission income, the GCI, and just what you're ranking on the scoreboard. Now listen, I love production. We are a high production agent, me and my business partner. And that's not to say I don't like looking at the scoreboard. That's absolutely get you going, right? But it doesn't really define my success. When your entire identity is wrapped up only in your numbers, you're like one slow quarter away from a full-blown identity crisis, okay? I know from being at the previous brokerage where they threw up the numbers all the time. And again, not a bad thing at all. Because we're competitive people, we like to be up there, right? Great. Doesn't define me. It's not who I am. If I don't make the top 1, 2, or 3, my life is still going to be fine. So I think that if you get too caught up in that, and let me tell you, it's fleeting. Here's the truth. You can be, and believe me, my business partner and I were very fortunate to, at our previous brokerage, and even now where we're at now, but at our previous, to be at the top of that list many times, especially him, for many months. But here's the truth. Nobody really remembers that stuff. Honestly, they don't. If you ask me who was number 1 on, the previous month, maybe I may remember, but 2 months, no idea. Don't really care, right? Doesn't really matter. To some people, that's a badge of honor for them. And they're measuring success by that. Not a good thing. The truth is, God doesn't measure you just by your commission checks. He measures all of us by the condition of our heart and the quality of how we serve people along the way. The scripture in Mark 8:36 says, "For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul?" So I can tell you, we've got to watch out for this. We can get so caught up in these numbers and different scenarios like this that it can majorly distract us. And again, I've personally gone through it. I get it. But I also want to say, from more of a mature outlook and someone who's been in the business like a long time, it's not going to help you. It's really not. Number 2, I'll get off the soapbox. Number 2, many agents will sacrifice their family on the altar of their career. And this isn't just real estate agents, and it's very, very sad. And this one really it kind of hits hard, and it needs to be said. There are so many agents that will grind 24/7, and they'll miss family dinners, miss games with their kids, miss moments that you'll never get back, all in the name of success. And the real estate industry actually celebrates this grind. Hey, way to grind, way to go. It's like, this is something that it's amazing to do. But the truth that some people don't want to talk about is you can win a deal every day and you can lose your family in the process. If you've done that, you haven't succeeded. You failed at the thing that really matters the most. In 1 Timothy 5:8, the scripture says, "But if anyone does not provide for his family, and especially for members of his own household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever." I want to encourage you to set boundaries for your family and yourself. Protect your calendar and be so intentional about putting your family first, because your family is a thriving family, is part of a successful real estate career. It is absolutely a part of it. And I can tell you, my wife and I raising 3 kids, being at their games, cheering them on at all their school events, being for them in those special moments as an independent contractor, as a real estate agent, is amazing. And I was able to do that. I kind of got this a little bit early on, had to learn this when they were really little kids, and they probably didn't know that daddy was in the office too much at night for hours, or gone on evening appointments or a weekend, when they were 1 or 2 or 3 and don't remember. Thank the Lord. But I went through that. I get that. And now that they're a little bit older, there's still some times where I have to, of course, be in the office at night, working on deals or having appointments on the weekend, but more of a balanced approach to where I'm not robbing those special moments, that special family time. I'm not saying I get it right every time, not getting distracted by this at dinner. We're human, right? We all do this kind of stuff. But in the long game, you want to really prioritize your family, because I can tell you, it's not worth a deal. It's not worth a commission. It's not worth an extra X amount of dollars per year. Never is it worth it. So number 3, some agents that define success wrong, they build their business on sand instead of rock. Agents, you may spend money on Zillow leads, paid ads, cold calling systems, and then the market shifts or the algorithm changes, and then your entire pipeline can just dry up overnight, because your business was built on transactions instead of relationships, on tactics instead of trust. But a faith-built business is built on something that never changes, right? It's your character, your integrity, and your genuine care for people that you serve. This is the foundation that withstands any market conditions. And in Matthew 7:24, the scripture says, "Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who builds his house on the rock." You and I know when we build our business on the solid rock, which is Jesus Christ, he never shifts like sands. He never changes. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. When we build our foundation on Christ, that's the way to go, because he's always going to be there. He'll never leave us nor forsake us. He sticketh closer than a brother. Jesus is always there for us. But these systems and these things that we put our hope and our faith in are not. So let me ask you a question. If every paid lead source disappeared tomorrow, would your business survive? If the answer is no, then it's time to rebuild a stronger foundation. Point number 4 is we cannot forget that every client really is a divine assignment for us. God has placed these people in our life. Now, some of them can be like, can be challenging, right? They may be an EGR. EGR, have you heard of that? Extra grace required. God gives us those once in a while. Many times it's us, right? Okay, but when we have a perspective shift that God gives us these people in our life that we can help, right? So every buyer or seller that kind of crosses our path is not just a commission opportunity, but it's really a person, an actual person that God has placed in our life for a reason. We don't know why. We find out during the process. That family that's just relocating from out of state, they're scared, they're overwhelmed, they're putting their trust in you. They didn't just show up by accident. That seller who's going through a divorce or a financial hardship, they need more than just a real estate. They need somebody who will lead with compassion, with patience, with a genuine care. So when you and I start seeing our clients as people that God has given us and trusted us to be a good steward of, it kind of changes everything. It helps our conversations. It helps our level of empathy toward them. It helps us to be able to kind of reframe our mind that God has put these people into our life. I need to help them. I need to serve them. Now, hey, still keep your boundaries up. Okay, I'm not saying you do that you don't let everybody in, but you have to really be prayerful and intentional about when God has people call you and get a hold of you, or you get a hold of, that God says, hey, I want you to help these people. There's a great scripture in Colossians 3:23, one of my life work verses. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for who? As working for the Lord, not for men. So this is the Realtors of Faith heartbeats, and is really what's going to separate a good agent from a truly great agent. And the last thing is this, point number 5. Successful agents will kind of get success wrong as they try to do it alone instead of building community. So, the entire real estate industry can be a silo business, right? It can be a lone wolf mentality. And so you see so many agents that guard their strategies. They just want to compete with their colleagues, and they don't really think about sharing ideas, helping each other. One of the reasons I wanted to come over to EXP several years ago is that I wanted to collaborate with other agents where we could share our secrets, how we do things, and this company does that. Versus being a local office with 50 agents, 10, 200, doesn't matter. Most agents aren't willing to kind of talk about what's making them successful. This community does that. And again, back to what the Bible talks about it. The scripture says in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 and 10, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. That is why the Realtors of Faith community exists, not just to sell more homes, but to surround you with a community of like-minded agents who chat together, who pray together, who grow together, who hold each other accountable. Agents that actually want to see you do well. Keep your boundaries up and win in this career of real estate. So here's what I want to say. If you're a real estate agent, you're tired of doing this alone, you're at a brokerage where you don't feel like there's any faith-based component to it, you want to plug into the Realtors of Faith community, I would love to chat with you. All my contact information is below, and let's book a phone call, shoot me a text, give me a call direct. You'll see my number below, 863-647-8600. Would love to connect with you, how I can help you with your business. We can connect and help more people grow. God bless. Have a great day.